unaware of the looming threat, had risen to ease himself, adding to the suspense that permeated the night. Obey returned to his sleeping spot, but remained restless, periodically waking up, his restlessness becoming a potent obstacle for Didi's nefarious plan. As the moon cast its gentle glow over Kali, the men tightened the ropes around Obey, binding him to the heavy stone as instructed by his conniving uncle. Suddenly, an unexpected twist seized Didi. He found himself entangled in the same predicament as Obey, gasping for breath and experiencing every physical pain that Obey endured, including the gnawing hunger. The realization dawned upon Didi that the spell he cast upon Obey might be reversing, turning the tables in the most unexpected manner. Frustrated and desperate, Didi commanded the kidnappers to halt their actions. Bewildered, they obeyed, untying Obey as ordered. Didi, now facing the dire consequences of his own malevolence, grappled with the shocking turn of events. The spell had not only rebounded on him, but had intertwined their fates to an unimaginable extent. Harm to Obey would now mean harm to Didi himself. The weight of the curse pressed heavily on Didi's shoulders, and the realization that he could no longer inflict pain upon Obey without suffering the same fate left him in a state of utter despair. Confession loomed as the only way out, a prospect that appeared more disastrous than the curse itself. The protection of the gods now shielded Obey, rendering him impervious to harm. That night, sleep eluded Didi as he was tormented by the echoes of his misdeeds. The darkness echoed with his thoughts, questioning the implications of the reversal of the curse. Would it signify the beginning of misfortune for him? The next day, Didi, driven by desperation and the shadow of impending doom, sought refuge in the forbidden realm of dark magic. He visited a mysterious witch doctor, hoping for a solution to the unraveling spell that threatened to expose his malevolence. The witch doctor, equally cunning and malevolent, provided Didi with a sinister remedy. The witch doctor whispered an ominous counsel, suggesting that a new spell be cast upon Obey, a spell that would not only frustrate Obey, but seal his fate within 2 days. However, a chilling condition accompanied this dark remedy, a condition that added a layer of complexity to Didi's plan. Obey must not see Didi with his naked eyes during the casting of the spell. The consequences would be far worse than Didi could imagine, the witch doctor warned. Relieved and fueled by a misguided sense of power, Didi believed he had found the key to escaping the haunting retribution that threatened to expose him. As night fell, Didi, cloaked in darkness, prepared the charm himself. The chilling cold and feeble wind failed to deter his determination. He ventured to the center of the village, just by the fortress where Obey sought refuge each night. The anticipation of his sinister act pulsed through the air. That night, Obey, plagued by restlessness and unable to find solace in the cold night, was far from falling asleep. The voices in the night kept him awake, a vigilant guardian against the impending danger. Didi, with stealthy movements, surveyed the sleeping area, only to find it empty. Panic gripped Didi as he questioned himself. Could it be that Obey was aware of his malicious intentions and had deliberately evaded him? Fear surged as he considered the possibility of encountering Obey while carrying out the sinister spell. Retreating into the shadows, Didi became increasingly careful and vigilant, recognizing that the stakes were higher than ever. Meanwhile, Obey, unaware of the looming threat, had risen to ease himself, adding to the suspense that permeated the night. Obey returned to his sleeping spot, but remained restless, periodically waking up, his restlessness becoming a potent obstacle for Didi's nefarious plan. As the night wore on, with the approach of day imminent, Didi grappled with the urgency to cast the spell before the break of dawn. Carefully tiptoeing, he checked if Obe had succumbed to sleep. Fortunately for Didi, exhaustion has finally claimed Obe, and he lay in a deep slumber, unaware of the impending malevolence. Didi, standing near the fortress with a sinister ambition, raised the charm toward Obe, who lay defenseless and unaware. Didi, with the dark charm poised over the sleeping Obe, suddenly found himself ensnared in a force beyond his comprehension. As he attempted to bring down his hand, he was frozen in place, unable to move or bend his knees. Panic gripped him. The land of Kali had seized Didi's feet. Darkness surrounded him, and Didi started sobbing, but the charm held him captive, rendering him unable to escape the consequences of his malevolence. As Didi wept and sobbed in the darkness, he realized the extent of his predicament. His raised hand, holding the charm, remained suspended over the sleeping Obe. Desperation filled Didi as it pleaded with the gods of the land for forgiveness. But despite his pleas, the grip of the unseen force remained unyielding. Meanwhile, Obe, oblivious of the supernatural events surrounding him, continued to sleep peacefully. The sun began to cast its first rays upon the village, illuminating the surreal scene. Didi remained held in a frozen pose, unable to escape the judgment that awaited him. Obe, still asleep, became the unwitting counterpiece of his supernatural drama. Two maidens who were headed to the stream saw Didi in that position. In fear, they ran back to the village to tell the people what they had seen. Like wildfire, the news of the mysterious occurrence spread, drawing the villagers from their houses to the village square. The young, the old, men, women, and children all ran towards the unfolding spectacle, and soon the entire village converged at the village square, creating a sea of expectant faces under the morning sun. Whispers of the supernatural event danced through the air, and the anticipation of revelation heightened the suspense. As the villagers gathered, their faces mirrored a collective curiosity mixed with trepidation. Children, usually the first to explore the wonders of the village, now clung to their elders, sensing an atmosphere of otherworldliness. The suspense hung thick in the air, creating a moment that will be etched in the annals of Kali's history. Obe, still fast asleep, remained unaware of the dramatic events transpiring around him. The villagers exchanged hushed whispers, speculating on the nature of the enchantment that had befallen Didi. The village elders, the king's men, and the chief priest approached the spectacle, their expressions a mix of astonishment and concern. The chief priest, well versed in the mysticism of Kali, took a cautious step forward. With a ceremonial calabash filled with flowing stream water, he approached Didi, careful not to disturb the delicate balance of the inexplicable enchantment. "Speak, Chief Didi," the chief priest intoned, addressing the frozen figure. "What dark forces have you unleashed upon yourself? Speak." Didi, in a voice laced with guilt and desperation, began to confess. His words hung heavy in the air, revealing the depth of his wickedness, from causing Obe's mother's death to blinding his own brother and orchestrating Chief Kane's demise. The villagers gasped in horror, their collective outrage building with each revelation. As Didi's sins were laid bare, the villagers could no longer contain their astonishment and anger. A thunderous shout, "Hey!" echoed through the village, reverberating with the sheer disbelief and disgust at the magnitude of Didi's malevolence. Didi, realizing the gravity of his actions, continued his confession, admitting his plot to cast a second spell on Obe. The plea for forgiveness that followed was met with a collective silence. The villagers, grappling with the enormity of the transgressions before them, suddenly, as if a cosmic force intervened, Obe, who had been sleeping throughout the tumultuous event, awoke to the uproar. His eyes widened at the sight of his uncle, still frozen in a spell. With a mixture of shock and recognition, he exclaimed, "Uncle!" Didi, in a desperate attempt to avoid Obe's gaze, quickly quickly shut his eyes, recalling the dire warning of the witch doctor, but it was too late. The moment Obe laid eyes on him, Didi's limbs came undone and madness overcame him, a punishment that could never be cured. The village erupted into chaos as Didi, now maddened by his own malevolence, fled into the frenzied dash, leaving behind the stench of feces and urine, tears and sweat. The chief priest, recognizing the need for spiritual cleansing, fetched a bowl of flowing stream water. He washed Obe's feet, cleansing him of the evil spell that had haunted him for so long. The villagers, led by the king, bestowed upon Obe his rightful place, restoring him to his father's stole with all entitlements. As the village rejoiced, Obe began a new chapter in his life, a life of prosperity and fulfillment. The tale of Obe and Didi became a cautionary legend in Kali, a story whispered by the flowing stream, a reminder that the evil men do leave an indelible mark on their destinies. Do no evil, hear no evil, and fear no evil. If you enjoy my story, please make sure to subscribe, not forgetting to hit on the bell notification icon so that when next I post another video, you will be the first to know about it. Also, make sure to like, share this video, and also drop a comment about what you like or dislike about this video in the comment section. Until I post another video, remain blessed. Thank you.